In this video, you see a wider warp on a backstrap loom. This is my 3-foot wide main loom, which makes, right now I don't have it warped all the way across. It comes out to be about 32 inches wide finish. And I don't have a very long warp on here. It's about maybe 5 feet. And you can see that with this, even with a wide project, I've put in 2 sets of tension sticks that are going to help me with the warp. Now, in the video I posted about weaving in Africa, the women weave on vertical wide looms, which is very similar to Navajo weaving and other American indigenous weaving. So this has been warped just like a backstrap loom. With the exception of the other looms you've seen recently, I have bolts so I can just pull the finished weaving through. This is more traditional, where the warp ends get tied to one beam with a second beam holding them in place. Now when I tied this off, I did it a little bit unevenly, so I have to go through and re-tie them, tighten up the warp. But what I was going to say is, with a 5-foot warp like this, if you had a Navajo weaving frame, you basically would warp everything the same way, and then you take the 2 back beams, these are Purplewood, and you put them, with rope, you tie them to the top of the Navajo frame. And then, depending on how tall your frame is, you tie the bottom to the bottom of the frame. In other words, you mount your warped back and front beam. You mount them onto a Navajo loom. So my brother had made me a Navajo loom, and it was just a little bit too big for the house, but it was, I think it was 4 feet tall and 3 feet wide, which was a really good size loom. And but like I said, it was a little bit too big for the house. It took up the like a big recliner in the middle of the living room. And I can do the same size warp on a backstrap loom. I can't do tightly packed rug weaving with a backstrap loom. I can and I can't. When you have it vertically mounted, you then use the heddle or a beater, and you really tightly pack it down. Backstrap weaving, you can do that, as we saw with some of the weaving in that video, but it's easier to do that when you have it vertically mounted. Most Navajo weavers use vertically mounted warps. So this is just another view at, let's say 32 inches wide. I mean, this is almost a yard of fabric. If I had warped it out to the ends, it really gives me 36 inches wide, and then it's a yard by a yard by a yard. So I would do the warp in increments of 3 feet and end up with yardage of fabric for anything you want to use it for.